Yes, you can leave it here. I will ask them to hang somewhere else. Yeah, it's okay. I will hang. Could you help to hang this somewhere else? Does she give page 9, please? No more no sin I'm the and be Tashin joy ju shenai ju ambai sanje ju da gende ba bendo lai chande da jai da shi jo de me je mo se de do cha be je be ge da be dam ba la go ba ja jere ta pa je bo ta ba se da be na ni sem je tham je la gong ta be be ye timen de ba te rai ta ben de chen zam de be ta shi pe de war she ba je la chan de lo nam be je no and do jin chen re zi wa gom bo ja me be sa ye bo de ba nam ba ze nam ge nye mo pan joy kun do za be do je be gara lo shin da nor bu da wa re de nye mai chan ze le na ta ji pe gi jo Tashi Seginya Dunjong Ponza Ye O Ramala Nyen Dan Dong Da Tenzo Pepe Menu Jede Wan Juroi Kolo Renjen Tajo Jege Chantenje Raju Jewa Chujema Gezo Tembe Pepewa Tashilamo Yela Chanze Nama Chembo Denjong Semebo Meton Denda Yebo Yengoroizon Baje Poda Loa Mimeza Nam de Sete Baden Koloda Jeshulada Dong Dong Dor Jeje Ewarede Jengoen Jemende Sasmaneso Gele Dashibe Jiden Joa Jela Achanzelo Haimbatende Chawa Tombala Gedanyewa Tsewa Kujine De Pembe Sande Yeshendo Trashi Dele Zo Sobajo. Now, Bodhichitta, which is the principal practice of the entire spirituality, actually, not only the Buddhism, but it's spirituality. That's a very much linked compassion. No, the Bodhichitta, or the practice of compassion and loving kindness, is very much linked, connected with the practice of spirituality. And then, specifically speaking, the Buddhist teaching, or the Buddhist practices, as you know, without the practice of compassion and loving kindness, Buddhist teaching or practice cannot be survived. So therefore it's very, very important. And also, if you really sort of specific about the Mahayana or even the Vajrayana, then it's the key issue, key point, the practice of the bodhicitta. So the practice of bodhicitta is very important for entire purpose. Not only the spiritual purpose, sometime even in the mundane purpose and a material purpose also. Because if you do not open yourself, you cannot achieve anything. For instance, like if you do not, if you do not stand in the sun will not come to you. If you are under a roof, the sun will not come and penetrate through the roof. So it's similarly that you have to be sort of open to get the wave or to get the reception, to get the reception of compassion, like a compassion and loving kindness. You have to have a sort of a openness. You have to open yourself so that you will get the, if you want, you can say compassion, the blessing. But if you don't want to use the terminology of blessing, it doesn't matter. You will get the peace. You will receive the understanding and the peace and happiness and and especially the satisfaction or fulfillment. That's what like that. So all these things will come because of your openness for yourself. If you close yourself, that means the opposite of compassion, opposite of love, actually opposite of bodhicitta, then there's not much of chance for you to sort of get developed in mundane level as well as the spiritual level, and especially the spiritual practice has to be started from opening yourself. You have to open yourself, and so open means open what? Open the attitude. Open the attitude or the concept that is closed very badly, and kept for yourself. And since beginningless of the time till today. So that is the concept that we need to open. And how to open that? That's the question now. How to open? That is, there's a two-way, as I said this morning, aspirational mind of enlightenment and then the practical mind of enlightenment. But of course, these both of them are mostly involved in a relative bodhicitta. There is a ultimate bodhicitta, which is Dzogchen, which is Mahamudra, which is the subject that we are not talking right now. Right now we are talking about the subject of relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta is subdivided into two: aspirational mind of enlightenment and the practical mind of enlightenment, as you all know. And the aspirational mind of enlightenment is very important to start with, because if you don't have an aspirational mind, which actually means you don't have a wish, you don't have a development of wish in your mind, you cannot go ahead. For example, if you don't wish to go to somewhere else, you hardly can go without wish. So you have to have a wish to go to town or go to other places. And then with that wishes, with that help of wishes, then you can go. You can go, and you go also during your during your mode of movement. That also you have that sort of constant kind of wish to go, so that the road will not be missed or something like that. You will be sort of wish will take you there. So similarly, that the aspirational mind of enlightenment, or the wish to be enlightened, for sake of all sentient beings or something like that, has to be developed. So that wish, we call it wish for enlightenment, or the aspirational mind of enlightenment. Why do we call it enlightenment? Is that because we don't wish for small thing. I mean, from the point of view of bodhicitta, we don't wish for the temporary kind of happiness or the bliss or fulfillment. Why? Because if you do wish for small things, it will I mean, there's endless of them, and then if you go for that, then you don't know what to really wish and what not, and you will be missing many things, and it's not covered. It won't cover entirely. So generally, what you really need to do is you wish for the enlightenment. That covers everything. That covers all the tiny wishes that you want. For example, get rid of your toothache, or getting rid of your headache, or your backache, or something like that. Small things, tiny bits, which you really need to liberate it. But that can be, covered, or that can be included. That will be included in the enlightenment. If you target for the enlightenment, that will cover it. If you don't target for enlightenment, these things will not cover it. So you have to cover everything one after the other, one by one, which is impossible for us to do so. So as a method, as a great method of the Vajra of bodhicitta practice, you wish for enlightenment. That's all, and that will recover. That covers everything. So we always say mind of enlightenment. Mind of enlightenment means the not the ignorant mind. The mind that is influenced by the ignorant. But with this time, when we talk about mind which is enlightened mind. So mind of enlightenment. But then what is the mind of enlightenment? Aspirational mind of enlightenment. So this is the reason it is known as aspirational mind of enlightenment. So this is what we very much needed to be developed to start with, or to begin with. So your wish has to be constantly there to be enlightened, and therefore this is known as altruistic mind of enlightenment. And also there's another way of looking at it. For instance, the mind of enlightenment also can be interpreted this way, in a way that, for example, it's like a mind of wisdom. Actually, the mind with wisdom, not with the ignorant, as I said before also once. And that is developing. That is something we wanted to develop in this retreat, for instance, by meditation. And yesterday at the beginning, I said something about this also. I already sort of mentioned about a little bit, that the ignorant mind is the opposite of the enlightenment. So we want to get rid of that, and you wanted to be familiarized with the wisdom. So with the wisdom means the mind of enlightenment. This is also the same issue. So the enlightenment, wisdom, and whatever you say, great perfection, and this and that, all these things are same family, same thing, actually. And these are very much opposite of ignorant. So we don't want ignorant. Bottom line is, we don't want the ignorant to influence our mind. So therefore we call it mind of enlightenment. That also can be done. There's a two-way of describing it, I think. One is, the mind of enlightenment means mind that wishes enlightenment, wishes for enlightenment. That's also can be said that way. But then, in another way, you can say that mind. We wanted to develop the mind which is not influenced by the ignorant, which means the mind of enlightenment, the mind that is totally enlightened, This is what we have to generate. So therefore also this is known as the mind of enlightenment. Anyway, that is, practically speaking, this is something that is full of love and compassion. This has to be. This has to be full of love and compassion. That's the kind of thing that we should be focusing for, and we should be understanding also. So, so aspirational mind of enlightenment, for instance, this which is very important to be developed, and for that we need to develop some kind of an understanding about the samsara and nirvana. That's the reason why Four Noble Truth comes. So Four Noble Truth, for instance, suffering, and then the cause of suffering. When we talk about the cause of suffering and cause of suffering, that actually means the samsara and cause of samsara, and nirvana and cause of nirvana. These four are the Four Noble Truth. Anyway, everybody must have heard many times Four Noble Truth. The Four Noble Truth is very easy, very simple actually, in sort of logically speaking. Samsara and the cause of samsara, and nirvana and the cause of nirvana. That's all. And when we talk of when we wanted to practice bodhicitta, we need to know these four, the system of these four. First it says samsara, or it says some suffering actually. The suffering and the samsara, it's not a very big difference actually, because samsara is fully ignorant, very much ignorant. So therefore it is known as samsara actually. That's all. It doesn't mean that, it is known as suffering. It doesn't mean that the samsara is full of suffering. Always there's the pain going on, like a great pain, like a growth pain all the time. No, this doesn't mean that. The pain is there, yeah, once in a while, or maybe on and off, but pain is not constantly there. I mean, we are talking about growth pain. I mean, of course, if we talk about the subtle pain or subtle suffering, then I don't know. Then it's constantly there, definitely. But we're not talking about subtle pain or subtle suffering. We're talking about the great or the growth pain, which is the visible and obvious kind of pain that it's really like a kind of pain in the knee, pain in the back, pain in the head, and also mental pain. No, we're not that suffering. I mean, sometimes we don't suffer for many days, many months. We don't suffer at all. But this period of this life is always known as suffering. The Buddha Shakyamuni gave it name as a suffering. Why? Because we are ignorant. We are totally from morning to evening, evening to the morning, 24 hours. We are almost 24 hours, not even 1 minute, I think, without ignorance. So therefore, our life is suffering. This is what we call it suffering. Why we call it suffering? This is something which is very interesting to know. Otherwise, many people think, why is it known as suffering? Samsara is totally suffering. Then people don't understand. I think people in the modern time, and especially beginners, they don't understand what does it mean, actually, because I'm not suffering. So why I mean, am I not in suffering? Samsara. I am in a samsara, but I'm not suffering. I'm enjoying. I'm totally happy. I don't suffer. So people think like that, and it's true also. I mean, it's not bluffing. It's really true. So when they're not suffering, then what does this mean? This means, I mean, they're not suffering. They're not going through the suffer of growth suffer, but they are going through the suffering, which is the ignorant, always ignorant. We all are same. Unless we are in the mode of practice, or in a mode of the spiritual sort of understanding, then there's no ignorant at that moment, hopefully. And that is pretty difficult for us to sort of gain that, achieve that state of the mind. Very difficult. So the ignorant is always there. Even if you want to drink a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, that also influenced by the ignorant. And when you want to go to toilet, also it's ignorant. When you want to go to stretch your leg, is also in ignorance. So ignorance is always there, subtly speaking. It's always there, no matter what. Maybe you are very smart and but it's ignorant is always influencing your day-to-day life. I mean, this is this characteristic of samsara anyway. So therefore, samsara is known as suffering. This is something which we really have to understand when we say samsara is suffering, full of suffering actually. So so we don't want, since yesterday I was keeping on telling you that we don't want ignorant. So that actually means we don't want suffering. That actually means we don't want samsara. Okay, we don't want samsara. So why we now we don't want samsara? Because we don't want some suffering. We don't want suffering because we don't want ignorant accident. We do many things. Most of the things what we do, and especially the pleasures and the happiness and all these things, whatever you come across, always comes to an end with a growth suffering. That because you start from a subtle suffering with attachment, then that grows bigger and bigger, greater and greater and greater, and it becomes very big. I mean, it's very quite obvious sufferings. That's the thing. That's the world anyway. So therefore, we don't want that. We don't want. And that's the reason we now we need to know the suffering first, samsara first, and then we need to know the cause of suffering. Actually, the cause of suffering is again it's ignorant and cause of ignorant, and we call it defilement. The defilement, cause of suffering is the defilement and action of its own, itself. So action. So the defilements, the anger, and all these defilements are manifestation of ego. That's for sure. You know that. So then this causes the suffering. Okay, this causes the samsara, and unconsciously also. Sometimes you don't know whether you are angry or not, whether you are attached or not, whether you are ignorant or not, especially ignorant. We don't really know whether we are really ignorant or not. Sometimes we don't feel that we are ignorant. We sometimes feel that we are fully awake. We know everything. We do everything with very 100% cautious and all these things. But actually, it's again it goes very ignorant. Why is it so that ignorance is always there? Is because that you believe everything. You believe in everything that it appears to be. So this is the ignorant. That small mistake is the big ignorant. You believe that you believe in this building being white. You believe that this building being permanent, because it looks as if it's very permanent. So you believe in that, and so you believe in the appearance of external things, external phenomena, very strongly, very blindly. That's the ignorant actually. So you believe everything, and when you believe in you also, you believe in yourself, and saying that I feel that way, I like it. I like that. And then when I like it, then that's you like it. You like it. I like that. So I need that. I want that. You just follow your eyes. Your eye. Whatever your eye say, your eye means I. The ego say that's the thing. You follow. 100% you like it. But actually you don't know, but you are saying that, I feel. When you say that, oh, this is white, but this is white, very good, very nice, I like white, that actually means you means that I think this is white. Actually, it is. Actually, it is you think. You think means your mind is influenced by the ego, ignorant, and then your mind decided that is white, and that is good, that is bad, that is not good, that is that sort of things. Discriminates, and then you believe in a certain way. So you just fall in trap by falling into it. So you for example you fall into extreme kind of extreme edge, if you like, So you can just say, okay, I like it, I'll take that, and I love it, and that's it. Like in English, you can say falling in love. I think it's the same thing. Like you just fall into a trap, and that's the thing. So you just fall, and that's it. And because your ego says it is good idea and it's great. So okay, you believe it. So you follow your ego actually. You follow your ego, and then for ego lets you fall down. That's it, and you don't know you are falling actually. So that's the thing. That's exactly what is happening in samsara. Not only falling in love, but everything is like that. You just ignorantly you follow what you feel, what you think. That actually means what your ego says. You just follow. That's it. So there's no other sort of a resistance or antidotes that we have. We don't have it. We don't have this. So therefore, they just falls into trap. And so this is suffering actually, suffering, and the mind influenced by the what you call that, mind influenced by the ignorant, as I said yesterday, and then mind, when mind gets influenced by the ignorant, then mind manifests into anger, manifests into desire, manifests into jealousy, and etc. All the defilement comes, yeah? So all the defilement, and then the defilement manifests, or I don't know whether it's called manifestation or what, but mind, the defilements, they cause you deeds, the bad deeds, negative deeds, negativities. Then there's negativity, and the deeds are the direct cause of the suffering, samsara, actually. That's the samsara. That's the cause of samsara, if you like to know, if you want to know. That is the cause of samsara, And indirectly, of course, the cause is the ego. Ego is the cause, of course. The ego, ignorant is the cause. We don't want that. But directly, the cause is the action, the bad deeds, negative deeds, like killing and stealing, etc., etc., all these things. And also, negative deeds, of course, is because of the ignorance. It directly came out of defilement, actually. So defilement and negative action are the direct cause of the samsara, direct cause of the suffering. And so these ignorant, ignorant causes the for instance, like maybe desire or something like that, and the desire will lead you to the anger will lead you to the ignorant will leads you to the anger will lead you to the desire, something like that. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's just related to each other. very badly. It's just like this. You don't know, but it goes like this. Oh, never stop. It goes like one leads to the other. So this is the wheel of samsara, wheel of life, day-to-day life, which you should understand that. So this cause actually is ignorant, but then it just goes like this, goes on and on and on and on. For example, the desire, how the desire causes anger is that, the desire is like to start with, for example, if you like somebody else, or if you like something else, like you desire for that, and then strong desire, and then you really work for that to get that that particular thing or to a particular person, and then once you get it, and then the moment you start to get that get that item or maybe a person, then they start to get angry. The anger is very much functioning right after that. The desire leads to anger, because the anger comes like, we don't call it jealousy, but the jealousy is a manifestation of anger. Actually, it's the kind of the aspect, one of the aspect of anger, actually. So if you want, if you like to say that way, you can describe it that way too. So that the jealousy comes when you have this, then you have anger. Then you have anger that I have it here. Now nobody can even look at this, because this is my thing. I have worked very hard and I got it. And now this is mine. You don't even look at this thing. This is mine. So if you look at, or if you touch it, or if you take it, then you feel very, very angry. So this leads you to anger. And then anger again slowly turns into a desire. And then that sort of things, of course, we know quite well experientially anyway, so we don't really have to talk about these things very much. And so this is the samsara cause and the result. Samsara, cause of samsara itself, and cause of samsara. And but then this is one of the good thing about the samsara is, just because samsara is being influenced by the ignorant, so therefore therefore samsara is regarded as a negative result. But actually, if you don't have an ego, if you don't let the ego to control your life, the samsara is nirvana. Actually, there is not much of difference, not a big difference between the samsara and nirvana. Samsara without ego influences, this is the nirvana actually. And nirvana does not need to have something else, very sort of big difference. We are in a nirvana in that sense, but we are in nirvana with the ego. So that doesn't serve the purpose. We are literally in a samsara. Sorry to say, but we are in a nirvana actually. So there's not much of big difference. So therefore, in the Vajrayana concept philosophy, we say nirvana is samsara, samsara is nirvana, and that is true also. There's no difference. It's like for instance, like looking at your palm. This is also your hand. Palm is your hand, and this also is your hand. Both of them are your hand, but you turn over, and then this known as palm, and this is known as something else. So, but this is hand actually. So it's not a big difference. It's just a question of a turning it over. So similarly, that the samsara and nirvana has not much of big difference. It's just a different vision, different cause, different things, different sort of concept. Yeah, concept is the one. Different concept. So we, as a samsaric being, we have a very peculiar kind of concept of the life, which is totally influenced by the ignorance. So therefore, we are regarded as a suffering being. We are regarded as a samsaric being. And so therefore we need to practice, and we need to get ourselves out of the suffering, get out of the ignorance. So this is the reason why we are practicing, and we need to practice. So this means that actually that's the reason we need to practice the mind of enlightenment, the altruistic mind of enlightenment. And so nirvana actually is the liberated form of suffering, actually, samsara, liberated form of samsara. There is hardly anything or any places or any sort of a person to be with so-called nirvana. No, there's nothing, I think. I mean, to my understanding, there's nothing. The only thing what you have achieved, what you need to be achieved in order to be in nirvana, so-called, is no ego, or the liberation, or free ego, free I free, I free kind of thing. And as long as you have I, or you have concept of I, concept of these things being existence, being exist as it is, as they are appears to be, then that is samsara. That is samsaric concept, and that is the cause of samsara. That is cause of pain and everything. And then that leads you to any kind of every pain. Maybe hell, maybe hungry ghost, maybe God, demigod, whatever. All the horrible things can happen because of this tiny mistake in your concept. That's all. So therefore, this spiritual practice, sometimes it's very interesting anyway. Sometimes it's a very very exciting, actually, I would say. But sometimes very disappointing too, depressing anyway. When we talk about sufferings and this and that, it's very depressing. But if you know some bright part, the bright part of the spiritual teaching, you will sort of uplifted. You will be uplifted very much, because even though we talk very nonsense, very negative about the samsara, but when it comes to the point, really the cause of samsara, it's just an ignorant. And ignorant itself, as I said yesterday, has no base, So therefore it's very good news, actually, because there's not much of chance for ignorant to keep that kind of power on you. Not much of chance at all. You have the right, full right, to really be liberated, yourself from the ignorant. That's for sure. But we have been somehow very weak since beginninglessness of the time till today, and especially in this life, we have been very weak. We always dragged on and on and on by our ignorance, always, So of course the desire drags you, of course, because of the ignorant is manifests into the otherwise ignorant itself cannot do anything. Ignorant is very funny thing, actually. He has no base, as I said yesterday. He has no base, and he has not much of means to do also. The only thing he can do is he manifests into the anger and desire and hatred. All these naughty things can come from him. He's very, in that way he's very skillful. But he himself, I mean the ignorant itself, does not have not much things to do. It's just like a very sleepy kind of thing, and very sort of kind of misunderstanding. That's all. The ignorant itself is a misunderstanding, that's all, and then that's it, just not do anything. But then when it comes into the manifestation, then he really can manifest like a lot. And then these manifestations can drag you up and down endlessly. And then that's what is happening in this world, you know. The desire drags you, anger drags you, jealousy drags you, and then all these things comes out of the. Then in this, all these things occurs in your life, day-to-day life, and it's almost like the same, as I said yesterday, almost like your life, and then all these afflictive emotions are inseparable. Actually, you know. This is what also people say, you know, that generally we feel that way. There's no emotion, there's no life. Emotion has to be there, then the life is there. Otherwise, no emotion, then there's no life. This is what commonly we say, and we believe that, and it's true also. In certain way, it is true. Emotion is so sort of, I wouldn't say respected, but it's so much needed, you know. But emotion, if the emotion is not influenced by the ego, then I think it is okay. You can have an emotion. It's not a problem at all, because you can call it emotion. You will be constantly calling it emotion, but it is not emotion. It is not functioning as emotion. It'll function as a wisdom, actually. And then the emotion may be their emotion, pretending emotion, you know, like a pretending emotion. You can pretend you are very emotional, but you are not emotional, actually. And so it's okay. I mean, even though there's emotions and there's a lot of things, it doesn't matter. It's because the ego is not there. Ignorant is no more functioning, then that's okay. So what I'm saying is that this is the So ego ignorant has no base and has nothing much to do, nothing much, not much of means. But he somehow ignorant can manage. Unfortunately, if we are weak, he can manage to sort of penetrate you through sending the anger in you and desire in you and all these things, and then you will be dragged, you will be carried away by these defilement. This is exactly what's happening. But the good news is that, you know, that since the ego has no base, I mean the ignorant has no base at all, and also ignorant itself cannot do much damage. I mean, cannot do any. I mean, not much things, because he's like a person who's very powerful, but he has no eyes, has no hand, no leg to travel, no hand to use, something like that. Similar. I mean, it's a similar kind of example, you know, I would say. So a very powerful man, but he has no hand, no nothing. He can't move, or he can't talk, something like that. So, but he's powerful, so he can send the troops to do the jobs, to do the damagement. So this is also a good news, because he has power, but he has not much thing he can do by himself. So therefore, we have a lot of chance to be victorious, you know, to really how do you say, to win the battle with the ignorant, and get the nirvana, achieve the nirvanahood within this life, within one day, within several weeks. Who knows? Why not, actually? Just because being a weakness, very weak, it's just unbelievable. We are so weak, therefore we just don't get to sort of get to the point where we can understand ourselves, the situation, and get the independent. We have to get independent from the control of ego. You know, we have to. Otherwise, until then, we're not in a good position, actually. So we have to get independent. So we don't want to be weak anymore. We are very weak ever since then, beginningless of the time till today. And we know that we can understand that we are very weak, actually. Weak in the sense that, we don't have our own place to stand on, or we don't have our own sort of, our own ground to really be sort of, be on, We always wait for the order to come. And the order, of course, ego's order will come, always go there, go here, do this, don't do this and that. I like this, I don't like this, I hate this and that. It's all ego's this thing, order. And you follow that, as I mentioned just a while ago. And same thing, and this can be understood if you check whether that is true or not. You just check yourself, invest yourself, and then how you function your life. Your life mostly it's sometimes mostly follow an advice, or follow some sort of a hint that you get from yourself, from your ego. Then you go there, and then you do all these things. And that means literally it's ego, ignorant. So if you have an independent, then you have your true altruistic kind of enjoyment of yourself, and of yourself, of the world, and then there's nothing wrong in this world, nothing wrong, and there's full of pleasure and full of means and full of optimistic and all these things. The world is nothing wrong actually in that sense, but if you do have the ignorant, or if you do have this this weakness, as long as you have that weakness, then you're always sort of dragged by these defilements, and then this and that, and the ego controls the defilement controls you. And that's true also, because when we get angry, we cannot be in a peace. Even if we want to, we cannot be in a peace. If when we were under influence of desire, we cannot we cannot survive without going, just jumping through the cliff. There's not much of choice, so you have to go through it. It doesn't matter whatever it happens. It doesn't matter. You have to jump, because it's so strong. The influence is so strong, and we are so weak. That's the reason we have to jump. And so it's tiring when you think of that. It's quite tiring, The life is a little bit tiring in that sense, in that particular sense. Of course, otherwise, of course, life is interesting. I always say that life is interesting. Life has to go ahead, and life has to be enjoyed. Life has to be comprehended. Life has to be appreciated. All these things. I always say that. It's true also. Life should not be seen as a suffering. Actually, life has to be seen as an enjoyment, as uplifting. Otherwise, if you make yourself to see your life very upsetting, then of course you'll get more upset as a result, and then you'll be sort of like more depressed. And then where is the practice? What is the love? What is the compassion that you're going to share with other people? No, you're going to share more disappointment with the people. You're going to share that. If you want to share something, you have what you have is the disappointment. So of course you would share the disappointment with the people, and you make people more disappointed. So this is not the way it should be. You have to think of uplifting your life, not ignorantly though. With the wisdom you have to uplift and appreciate, because life life itself is really, life itself without influencing by ignorance, it's a very great, nothing wrong. It's a really nothing wrong with it, So this is something we should understand. And then we should, through that kind of concept, uplifting kind of concept, then you can develop the compassion and loving kindness and share the love and kindness and happiness and all these things. And then you'll be able to develop the bodhicitta way. But then it sounds a little bit paradoxical or contradictory, if we say life is suffering, or the samsara is suffering, and we are in a suffering and all these things. Yes, that's true, but this is a way of pronouncing, way of addressing, because it's a different angle. If you look at this building from this angle, it's a very small building. But from that angle, you have a broader and bigger view of this building. So it's from different view. So similarly, that when you look at the samsara from an angle from an angle of suffering, then it is suffering. But from an angle of the positive, like a joyfulness and the pleasure, then it's a pleasure. So you have to look from the angle with the understanding of suffering. That's the thing. With the understanding of having that angle too. But you have to look from this side, from the positive side, and at the same time you should have an understanding of this side also, the negative side also. Then you can develop both the wisdom and the compassion together. Both the wisdom and love together. Love because there's a suffering. So therefore, you really wanted to give those people, or give those beings who are suffering, you give some love or share your happiness or whatever, and wishes, etc., etc. So because that's the reason it's need the positive, negative vision, negative angle to be understood. But then you have to have yourself should have a view of this positive angle. That's a very important, so that you can uplift yourself. Not only you're uplifting, but you can share with the people your happiness, your joyfulnesses, and then that sort of things. And then hopefully you can lead every people who are suffering, every being who are suffering, gradually gradually, like relatively of course, but gradually to the angle that you are looking at it, and then they will be happy. They will be happier than than they are right now. So that sort of things. So you have to have both view of angle, the both view, the negative view and then the positive view, both. But you practically must look from the point of view of the positive angle as a practitioner, definitely. Otherwise, if you look from the point of view of the negative angle, then it's very difficult to develop anything. You'll be full of sufferings and this and that, and you'll be like dragging yourself down. So this is not a method. The method, what we are we want to apply on our life, is that look at the life brightly, happily, with the wisdom, means with the knowing that if you have ignorant, then this is a very, very problematic. This is something that the fact you should understand, the real matter of the fact. So otherwise, of course, if you don't have this wisdom of knowing everything, then you try to keep joyful and all these things ignorantly, then this causes a lot of problems again at the same time, unconsciously maybe, but it causes a lot of problem, and then it doesn't bring you anywhere else. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Even if you try to really be uplifting yourself, but you cannot really uplift genuinely. You just try to. It's okay. I mean, it's worth it to try, but it doesn't make any sense because you don't have how do you say, understanding of appreciation. You know, for instance, you know, this is very. I don't know whether you you have experienced it or not, but when you are in hospital, for example, and going under a very big sort of a treatment, like operations and, you know, the painful injections, etc., etc. And then you get maybe 10 days in the hospital. You admitted in hospital for 10 days or something. It's very painful and all these things. But when you, and then that after that, when you go out, you have no pain of the injection and no pain of whatever the disease, or everything is gone. You are very healthy. You feel extra joy, you know, extra joy. Usually you don't feel that joy. Usually when you are not sick, but just because of the hospitalization. I mean, you are in hospital. You were in hospital for 10 days or 15 days or a month. Then you come out and you become healthy as normal as before. You become normal. It's not It's not because that because of the drugs and treatment you become. It gives you special sort of enjoyment. No, it's not. But just you become normal. That's all. But then you have a feeling of extra joy because you have been suffering for 1 week or for 1 month, suffering tremendously. So that knowledge gives you extra joyful. That is appreciation, actually. That cause that joyfulness came the joyfulness is caused by, how do you say, caused by the appreciation. So this is what I'm saying. Appreciation. You know, you have to appreciate. Appreciate means comprehend the wisdom. You have to understand the negative part also. So then you will be from that kind of point. You will understand you will appreciate your life, how comfortable you are, and then the genuine joyfulness comes, not just artificially, like making yourself joy, like those days. Nowadays, of course, many of young people, they go to discotheque, and every weekend they go to fish and they go to hunts and I don't know what, they go to beach and all these things. They try their best to make themselves happy, you know, to sort of, they try. Yes, of course, we all are trying, but I don't know how many people are achieving that. I don't know. I can't say that. I mean, I'm not in a position to tell about any other people, but I doubt that they really can achieve something. But of course, these things that we are doing in the nightclubs and all these things, it's a place. These are the place that to try to make you happy. That's all. So we'll try. Of course, we try. Everybody tries. From spirit, you know, even if they are not spiritual practitioner, but they try. Everybody equally try their best to make themselves happy. That's what we always do. But I don't know whether we are succeeding in that, this thing, or not. But from the point of view of spiritual, the spiritual method is the best method to make yourself happy and to make yourself joyful, and I mean to really create a joyfulness in your life, joy, the enjoyment, real genuine joy. You have to appreciate. The appreciation is the only one that you can really think of. Then you really genuinely, no matter what you are experiencing, I mean physically, maybe you are experiencing a pain, maybe you are experiencing a bad, like a loss of money or whatever, loss of wealth or something, but still you will feel genuine. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know, really like a very genuine, authentic happiness and fulfillment and satisfactory in your, I don't know, in your heart or in your understanding, in really deep in your life. You will feel you will be deep smiling, you know, you will be enjoying tremendously, not emotionally, but tremendously, genuinely, steadily, and firmly. not emotionally. Right now, most of the enjoyment, what we're going through, are very much emotional kind of enjoyment. Just like, and then just jump around and then cry, scream. You feel a little bit of good, because of some sort of a wildnesses coming in the circulation of body, and then you sometimes you feel sort of light and a little bit of a happy. So this kind of happiness is, we call it emotional happiness. And that actually very much linked with the ignorant, actually. So therefore, ignorant is always pulling you down, actually. And ignorant is doing like this kind of thing, let you go a little bit, enjoy a little bit, and then pull you down. And then it's like a, little mice being in front of cat. It's like that, the gentle cat. I mean, gentle and very, kind of gentle cats. They just look at the mice or mouse. Then they let the mouse to do a little bit, jump around, and doesn't matter. But then when mice goes underneath of something else, then the cat comes and then throw up, and then let the mice to play around a little bit, and then again, if the cat gets a little bit of indication that the mice is going somewhere else, disappearing somewhere else, and then again cat comes and then throw it up, and then throw it there, throw it right, throw left. Of course, finally he will be killed anyway. That's the final anyway. So it's similar. Ego, what ego does with us, it's like that. Ego always throw you up, down, play around, and as if wow, this is great. I had a very great experience. Or last night I had a very great things in discotheque. I met somebody else. Oh, this is a great experience. Great man I met. Great woman I met. Wow, this is great. That is great. It's, of course, so many great things you can have. And then, but back there, ego is laughing at you. Okay. That's true. Ego can pull your string anytime. So that's the thing. So therefore, we don't want this string, that linked with the ego. That's we don't want. We want enjoyment, of course. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Whatever the enjoyment comes from, where comes from any kind of condition, doesn't matter. That's not the question. But we don't want this string, that he's pulling somewhere else. This is something we don't want. That's the thing. It's very tiring, he's pulling up, down, letting. This is the thing. So this is the reason why we don't want the ignorant. We don't want the ego function. Okay. Wow. It's 11 o'clock. Is it 11 o'clock or is it 12 o'clock? 10 to 11. Okay, that's not too bad. Therefore, I would say, as a practitioner, we need really to think about how to get the appreciation, the appreciation. So, appreciation has two meanings: appreciating the negative part and appreciating the positive part. Both of these are the appreciation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to appreciate the good things, the positive things all the time. That's not right. You should appreciate the bad things also, so that you will be experiencing the joyfulnesses. This is the only genuine method to make yourself happy, genuinely happy, genuinely satisfactory. This is the reason. Otherwise, whatever you do, no matter whatever you do in order to make you happy, temporarily it will It may work temporarily, maybe a few hours, but it won't work for a long time, long run. It doesn't work, for example, it doesn't work even 24 hours sometime. For instance, like going out for drink. It's a very, very enjoyable moment, I think they are going. I mean, I never had this kind of experience in my life, but I think it's I think it's a very great enjoyment for those beings who those people who goes like maybe a whole night out, or maybe half a night out in a pub and chit chat, and I don't know what they do, but and they drink and drink and drink. I think they're they're enjoying a lot, I think, at that moment. But this lasts not even for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning it's a horrible experience for them, I think. Yeah, they have a very strange looking face, and this is what I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just guessing anyway. So this enjoyment is very temporary, I think, very, very short. And then you need to do the same thing next night. You need to do the same thing in order to make yourself happy for 1 hour or two. And then you have to do more and more and more. This is the manifestation, exactly the manifestation of ego. Always more and more and more. And then finally it'll kill you. That's it. That's it. That's the what I said before, just a cat. It's like that, very. Finally, that poor mice has to be dead. So it's something that we have to. So therefore, what I'm saying is the appreciation. This is very important to know. What is really the appreciation? What is the negative? What is the positive? And where are you? Where am I? Where I am? This is the thing that we should understand. And I'm not much in a bad position. You will understand. Even though maybe I have a pain in here, I have this, I have that negative part, but relatively I'm pretty well off. I mean, if I look at from the negative point of view to the world, and there are thousands of people are suffering too much, and relatively I'm very well off. So then you will appreciate your life, your lifestyle, and then this particular appreciation makes you genuinely happy, not egotistically happy, but genuinely, peacefully, firmly, steadily you will be happy. That's what we need, and then you will have that will give you a lot of chance and opportunity to practice, because you have a wisdom, you have a joyfulness, and everything. So what else you need? You don't need anything. You just practice. You just practice compassion. You just practice love, generosity, etc. And on top of that, if you really have a time, then you do the mantras and tantras and meditations, etc., exercise, yoga, etc., for the sake of all beings. So then everything is perfect, and you really will be taking everything very easy, very calm, very successfully, very progressively, very nicely. So this is what really we need as a Buddhist Bodhichitta practitioner, Bodhisattva practitioner. This is the main meaning of the altruistic mind of enlightenment, actually. Enlightenment, wisdom, actually is wisdom, and that refers to the appreciation. That can be interpreted as an appreciation. Wisdom is appreciation, so you appreciate. So in Vajrayana we call it devotion. It also is appreciation. There's no other devotion than appreciation. You appreciate what you have. You appreciate what your master gave. You appreciate what your karma give it to you. You appreciate what you can be experiencing afterwards if you are not how do you say, cautious enough, and you appreciate. So everything you appreciate. So especially your life will be appreciated, So therefore, it's the devotion. If you have that, that is devotion. If you don't have that, there's no devotion. Even though you sort of you claim yourself as a devotee, but you are not devotee because you don't have a devotion. You don't have an appreciation. So the appreciation is the key point for Vajrayana practice, as well as Mahayana practice, and as well as spiritual practitioner. Anyway, whatever you are practicing, maybe you're not practicing even Buddhist, but you're practicing non-Buddhist, but appreciation is very important. If you don't appreciate your life, then there's not much of things you can do. And that lack of appreciation is the form of weakness, actually. Weakness. When we say weakness, again, people don't know what is the weakness, but lack of appreciation really is weakness, actually. Then you even if you are in a good condition, you don't feel it, and then you get weak. You weaken yourself very badly down, and nobody can tell. Even if some of your genuine friends said, "Hey, you have good position, and don't worry, and this and that," you don't understand. You don't want to understand, because you have no appreciation, no deep appreciation, understanding. So therefore, you are lacking in the wisdom. You're lacking in this thing. So therefore, the ignorant influence is so strong. So you cannot really fixing yourself. So you cannot fix yourself. So then that drags you down and down and down. So that's also one of the reasons. Why the weakness is very bad, very, very negative in practice. So the weakness is actually a form of the lack of appreciation. So mind of enlightenment mind of enlightenment is a very important practice, and that you have to have an aspirational mind of enlightenment. There's a aspirational mind of enlightenment and practical mind of enlightenment. So the aspirational mind of enlightenment is very important. So you wish everybody happy, and you wish everybody to be appreciating, or you wish that everybody will appreciate their life, appreciate their world, appreciate everything. And so because since you have a sense of appreciation, then you can share that. That itself is a love. That itself is a compassion, actually. That's the thing. Love, when we talk about the love also, it's actually it's a wish, actually. It's a wish to give something. Wish to give in order to liberate their suffering. That's the love. And compassion is wish to get rid of their suffering directly. That is the compassion. If you want to, how do you say, differentiate between these two. Most of the people, they don't differentiate. They're almost the same. So therefore, they say compassion, loving kindness, compassion is just like almost same. But if you differentiate, you can differentiate also. But they're in a one family, actually. So it's anyway. The both is wishing, actually, aspirational mind of enlightenment. You wish people to, you wish being to be so and so. So wish for everybody. Wish for yourself. Wish, you send the best wishes to everybody. So this is the now aspirational mind of enlightenment. Aspirational mind of enlightenment, I think. So actually, love should not be understood as a sort of like kind of emotional kind of stage of the mind. People commonly they think love is something like something emotional kind of thing, and of course it can be emotional kind of thing, but love does not necessarily mean emotional thing. Love, the true love is a strong, genuine wish, whoever that person to wish for granting some happiness or joyfulness to others. That's the love. That's actually, For example, I love my, say, my friend or my son or my, I don't know, whatever you can say. So say, I love my friend actually refers to actually, the actual. I don't know normally where does it go? I don't know, but actually that should refers to the strong wish him or her to experience the gift, strong wish that I can give something, wish that I can give something, strong wish to give something, to give away, to give something, so that he will enjoy, he will be happy, he will be liberated from the suffering, whatever he is going through. So this is strong wish I want to give. That's the real meaning, the authentic meaning of love. I want to give something so that he will be happier. Maybe he's a very happy guy, but I want to give something more so that he will be more happier. So this is wanting, or this wish, a particular wish is love. And compassion is that, if you look at a person or your friend, then he's suffering or he's not happy, then I feel compassionate because I strongly wish that I can liberate his suffering right away through my method, through I don't know, whatever. So this is what I wish. So this so-called compassion. Now that's the different. So love is giving, and compassion is wishing for getting rid of his or her pain. So that's slightly different between. It's a different, small different and tiny different between compassion and love. Rather than nowadays, the love is almost like love is always something very much associated with the sects and all these things, and this is wrong, entirely wrong sort of interpretation, entirely. And it's almost like a need to be like that, So the people always, it's misusing, actually. It's misusing the expression of love. And it is very similar, but it's not necessarily that way. That's the reason people also misunderstand, like a Bible saying that God is love, love is God, and everybody, even back in India, in a small village, very tiny village, they also have that big thing writing on somewhere. It's written somewhere there. They're just misinterpreting these things, just to be a naughty. So then they wanted to put this and misinterprets the entire Bible, actually. So that sort of things. They're trying to manipulate the Bible and make something favorable for themselves, just to be naughty. But I think this is not right. You have to have a genuine understanding of love. So then you will have a good relationship with your friend, your wife, your husband. Definitely, because if you have a genuine relationship, genuine idea of love, then there's not much of difficulties to have a good relationship with the people, with the friends, and family and all these things. There's nothing, not a big problem. If you don't have the genuine understanding of love, then if you manipulate and also misunderstand about the words love or the effect of love, then that's the point where you start the trouble, where you start the problem. Because the love also influenced by the ignorant, then that's the reason misunderstood, misinterpretation, because of your ignorant, your love misunderstood. I mean, you misunderstood the love, so then the love gets into a trap, and that's the problem. Therefore, that's the reason we always say mind of enlightenment. We don't say love directly, because love can be misinterpreted. But actually, mind of enlightenment has no body if there's no love. The love is the key point. Love is the key practice, actually. But if you don't have, how do you say, idea of genuine the enlightenment or the wisdom, then the love gets very blind, very blind. So therefore, even though love is the key point, key practice, yet we always pronounce as enlightenment, mind of enlightenment, altruistic mind of enlightenment. That shows about the union of the wisdom and love. So I'll give a break, and we'll have a short break, and then afterwards we'll continue.